What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Keep It Down podcast, episode 16, boys. As always, presented by DUBBY. I'm your host, Garrett, joined by my two co hosts, as per usual. TC, say what's up to the people.
What is up, everybody?
Schmack, how you living, baby?
What's going on, everyone? Glad to be back.
Yeah, absolutely. And as always, you can find us on Instagram at Keep It Down Pod. We recently made a Twitter also, so go in our link tree on our Instagram bio, and it'll take you directly to it. But if you already have Twitter, Keep It Down _pod is our Twitter handle. So go give us a follow. And all of you that tuned in the last episode, we are also on YouTube. So go check that out. Subscribe. Give us a like. Shimon got all of the past podcasts on there as well, so you can watch those. There's no video for those ones, but episode 15 and on will have video. So, like I said, subscribe, like, all that stuff. And yeah, boys, what a divisional round of football we witnessed this past weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we just dive right in. Start with the Jags and Chiefs, boys. Thoughts, concerns?
Yeah, man, actually turned out to be a closer game than I expected. Obviously, the Chiefs been a perennial powerhouse for years now, and the Jags were right there with them. Obviously, Mahomes was kind of hindered by that ankle injury, but just a really impressive showing this season from the Jags, really turning it around. I mean, they had the number one overall pick in the draft last year, and for them to be in a divisional round against the Chiefs and go toe to toe with them. Pretty impressive out of them, but in the end, I think the better team did win. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I thought it was a crazy turnaround by the Jaguars this season. I mean, they went from having the worst record in football to then making the divisional round, and I mean playing a great game against the Chiefs. Man, watching that game, I just could not be more impressed with Peterson's play calling. That guy's ability to call offensive games is crazy, and some of those plays that they run. I was just sitting there thinking, wow, he's a genius at what he does, and I mean, there's a reason why he has a Super Bowl under his belt. Yeah, it was just really impressive. I mean, the Chiefs did their thing. Obviously, Patty Mahomes getting banged up isn't exactly what they wanted out of that game, but a really close game. I mean, Jaguars played a great game, but I mean, I guess all credit goes to Kansas City for pulling that one off.
Yeah, and I mean, the Jaguars probably have, I'd say, either top 5 or top 10 brightest futures ahead of them. Trevor Lawrence a rising star, ETN's a solid back. Their defense, Trayvon Walker, first overall pick. I mean, the kid's probably 22 years old or something like that. And Josh Allen, not the one you think, but still just as dangerous on the defensive side of the ball. But they keep adding all these receivers, and Evan Ingram's been a really nice piece. They seem to just get him the ball all the time, which I mean, if you watch any Doug Peterson coach team, that's a pretty much staple in their offense. But yeah, I mean, they kind of just ran into the wrong opponent, man. The Chiefs are just solid through and through. Andy Reid has proven that it doesn't matter who is on his team, he's still going to produce and put up a lot of points. And they always have a secret, just a secretly stingy defense as well. So
yeah,
I mean, to be expected, but I mean, yeah, watch out for Jacksonville, man. They kind of have the Dolphins thing going where they're like a destination kind of place, in sunny Florida. The weather's nice year round, all that kind of stuff. So definitely a team to keep your eye on moving forward.
Yeah, definitely. Jags were a surprise team this year. You kind of touched on it, Josh.
Yeah.
They went out and did their thing in free agency this past summer. Obviously, Evan Ingram coming in, Christian Kirk, Zay Jones. They really bolstered that offense. And then, man, one takeaway I had from that game was just Patrick Mahomes, man, just a different animal. Obviously the high ankle sprain, never fun to deal with. But there's that clip of him on the sideline talking to one of the coaches, and he's basically telling the coach, don't take me out, don't take me out, no, So, just really cool. I think hate him or love him, Patrick Mahomes is one of those guys that he plays for his guys, right? We talked about it on the last pod with Lamar Jackson. You hate to see business or outside factors influence anything that happens on the football field. And Patrick Mahomes is definitely not one of those guys that let anything from the outside world affect him on the field,
Right.
Just really, really cool to see that from one of the NFL's top athletes,
Yeah, I mean, the high ankle sprains, especially for a mobile quarterback. I mean, it has a lot to do with your play and how you're going to manage the rest of the game. But he seemed to manage it really, really well. Obviously, he's been there before, and I mean, props to him. And I mean, hopefully he's 100%. I mean, when you're in the playoffs, you just hope that your guy is 100% to go. And I mean, if you're the opposing team too, I mean, you want to play teams at their best, not with an asterisk next to it. So, yeah, yeah. Hopefully he's good and ready to go for this weekend.
Yeah, it's kind of nuts, man. Like coming into the season, obviously you lose Tyreek Hill. And
Mm-hmm.
then all the talk was about all the other teams in the AFC West. Broncos bringing in Russ, and the Raiders are revamped with Devontae Adams and Chandler Jones coming in. The Chargers are going to be the ones to take down the Chiefs. Like it's Herbert's time and all this, and here they are again. I think this is what Mahomes' fifth AFC championship in a row. So
Mm-hmm.
man,
Yeah,
they let everyone know that they're still here, and yeah, man, it's going to be another great weekend of football.
absolutely.
Yeah, and then gosh, what's the other? Oh, okay, Eagles Giants. Just get this one out of the way.
Sheesh.
Yeah, the Eagles made very light of the Giants, man. I turned it off after like third quarter or something like that. I mean, we kind of the big question mark going in was how much of Jalen Hurts is going to be there, and I mean, I'd say he's definitely closer to 100% than 75%.
Mm-hmm.
percent So
Yeah,
that I mean, you've seen it all year, and when that team is clicking, they are damn hard to stop. So I mean, but it's just how long can you be clicking all on the same page for? I mean, I guess that's really football in a nutshell. But so I mean, if they can do that, they are looking to be a powerhouse in these next 2 weeks. So
Yeah, I think the Eagles in the NFL are what Golden State is in the NBA. Golden State, all of a sudden they hit a three, and the next one goes in, and all of a sudden they're hot, and all of a sudden their point guard shooting from half court, and it is going in. And it's kind of the same way with the Eagles. They're a big momentum team. Like once they get that ball rolling, it's very, very tough to slow it down. It seems like you're playing on a in or against an inclined field, you know. So yeah, man, like just everything clicking right. We've seen it for a good portion of the season, but Chacha's right. We had no idea what Jalen Hurts was going to be coming into the game. And after the game, his coach is saying that he is the Michael Jordan of the NFL. So I mean, a huge statement victory from the Eagles, man. And yeah, Chacha's right. Once they get clicking, it's really tough to slow those guys down.
yeah. I mean, I thought we were going to see a completely different Eagles team. I think, um, just kind of having some of those younger guys on the roster. I didn't know how they were going to handle that bye week, going into that divisional game. And, the Giants just came off of what was a huge win for them over the Vikings. But I mean, it just seemed like the Eagles didn't even skip a beat, man. They just went straight into it and they were playing their game. And I mean, there was not a thing that the Giants could do about it. So I think it's going to make things really interesting this next week. So, um, yeah, just a great game. I mean, I didn't even know it was getting that out of hand until I, flipped on the TV and it was like halfway through the third quarter and they were like 31-9. And I thought that was absolutely crazy. But I mean, good for them. And Jalen Hurts is obviously extremely healthy. So they're the kind of seemed like the team to beat from what I saw.
yeah,
Definitely. I was going to ask you guys, do you think the Giants quit or you think it was just the Eagles' night and there's nothing that they could do?
I think it's kind of a matchup nightmare. I think that Giants team
Yeah.
would have matched up very, very much better against either the Cowboys or the Niners. Because
Hmm.
they kind of want to do the same thing. They want to run the football and throw when they need to, kind of thing, and let their defense bail them out from time to time. But you're playing a
Yeah.
team like the Eagles. You need a team like the Chiefs or the Bengals to kind of match that high octane offense. So I think it's just a matchup nightmare. And the Giants are another one of those teams in ascension mode, man. Ton of young talent. So they found their guy in their head coach. So it's always a good sign.
Yeah.
Moving on. 49ers and Cowboys.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Well,
Um,
we're gonna take some time here. I can already feel it.
so let's talk about the first 3.98 quarters, and then we'll
Mm-hmm.
kind of dissect the last
Yeah.
little bit at the end. So,
Uh-huh.
I mean, overall, the 49ers just did what they love to do to teams. They just suffocate you. They create a turnover, then they double you up, and they're up by 2 touchdowns. And that's what they
Mm-hmm.
love to teams. They've done that all year. They will continue to do it. You know, they're not asking anything crazy out of Brock Purdy. He is simply just throwing to the open receiver or McCaffrey or
Mm-hmm.
Kittle or it doesn't matter. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a scary team to move forward in the playoffs. But the only thing is, I mean, Brock Purdy's, you know, incompetence, not incompetence, but he's a rookie who's played what 7 games now or something.
Yeah.
So I
Won
mean,
all of them.
that could bite him
Yeah.
eventually. So yeah, I mean, we'll see, man. They're running into a active buzzsaw. So but we'll get into that later. So
Yeah. Uh,
Definitely. Go ahead, Schmack.
no, I was just gonna say, man, I'm kind of at that weird spot where I don't know if this was a 49ers win or if this was a Cowboys loss. I mean, the Cowboys defense, man, played an insane game. I mean, they held the
They did.
49ers offense to 19 points. Like like those are games that you got to win. TC, I'll let you give your thoughts, and then I think we all kind of have a consensus about where kind of the issues were. But I mean, for that defense to only allow 19 points and like you lose the game against the 49ers, like your defense put you in the spot where you needed to be. I mean, the game plan was there. And yeah, I mean, the 49ers still look good. They have weapons all over the field. It's really hard to defend all those guys. But I mean, I thought Dallas' defense did an incredible job of it. Um, but yeah, what do you think, TC?
Yeah. I'm just, I don't know. After the 49ers performance, I'm a little bit unsure about them. The
Mm-hmm.
defense obviously played an awesome game, obviously giving up, what, 12 points to a pretty
Yeah.
stacked Cowboys team.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of expected more out of the offense. I mean, you have probably the best skill position guys in the whole NFL between Debo and Christian McCaffrey,
Mm-hmm.
George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk. You know what I mean? So I think Chach is right. Purdy just has to get it to the open guy, or he can turn around and hand it to McCaffrey every play and still be pretty productive. So I don't know. I expected a little bit more out of them from the offensive side of the ball, but like we've
Yeah.
been saying throughout their whole playoff run, man, that defense is going to travel and it's gotten them this far in the playoffs already. And I don't know, man, like that Cowboys team, it's just I don't even know where to start with them, man. Like just obviously
Yeah.
crumbling in the big games and they just find a new way to do it every year.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously last year you have the debacle at the end of the game with the time management situation, spiking it with 0 seconds
Yeah.
left on the clock. Just time and time again, going back to the Tony Romo years, even before Dak was there, like you just find a way to lose when you should
Yeah.
win. Like
Yeah.
your defense comes out and holds them to 19 points, man. Like you got
Mm-hmm.
CeeDee Lamb, Zeke, and I know Tony Pollard went down.
Yeah.
But you're still probably a top 5 offense in the NFC, and like you can only get 12 points.
Yeah.
You know, uh, just crazy. And then you cap that all off with the whole kicking situation.
Yeah,
I
man.
know he had a little bit of redemption towards the
Mhm.
end of the game, but obviously coming in, you missed what your last 4 extra points, and then you get the first one blocked. Like,
Yeah.
man, it's just like a new thing every year for the Cowboys.
I mean, it's just their trademark, man, to like go down in the biggest like fiery flame possible. It's always something. It's always some sort of thing that's all over the internet. TC, you touched on it. Like last season, they had that QB sneak, which was a good play, but then like it wasn't executed properly, and then time ran out, and they spiked the ball. This year, you have whatever the hell Kellen Moore was thinking on that last play. I don't know. I mean, that was crazy. But I mean, you kind of see it like, oh yeah, well, Pollard went down. Like I'm sorry, like you run a 2-back offense, like one of them goes down, and homeboy rushes for 21 yards. Like that's crazy,
Yeah.
And I mean, like I just really don't understand sometimes how they do what they do. I mean, they should have won the game, and I mean, I think Dak Prescott is getting dangerously close to his time being up in Dallas. I think. I mean, he led the league in interceptions. I mean, that's not what you want out of your starting quarterback. And I think, I don't know, it's hard to pinpoint though. I mean, is it, McCarty? Is it, Kellen Moore? I know he has, just had an interview with the Jaguars this week. Is it Dak? Like, do they not trust their play callers? Do they not trust the personnel that they have on the field? It seems like there's just kind of issues all over the place, man. What do you think, Chach?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to pinpoint, like you guys are saying. It kind of seems like it's all over the field all at once. You got freaking Jerry Jones coming down and giving the kicker a talking to pregame, which I think is
Yeah,
completely
I mean,
unprofessional, man. Like, there's no way an owner should be like giving the kicker a talking to before a game. If you want to do that at the facility before the game, great, it's fine. You're the
yeah.
billionaire with all the money, do whatever you want. But
Mm-hmm.
it's just from the media perspective, and everyone's just worrying about the kicker, and no one's focused, obviously. You got Trayvon Diggs dropping an interception in the fourth quarter that hit him in the chest. You got, the last play debacle, which it
Mm-hmm.
was just interesting all in itself. But, one more thing on the
Yeah.
49ers. I don't know if you guys saw, it was like maybe in the second or third quarter, the 49ers were in like a base cover two, and the Cowboys ran like a seam package. And it was like probably a
Mm-hmm.
30-yard seam pass to Dalton Schultz. And somehow Fred Warner just gets to the ball and tips it, which I mean, in my
Yeah.
recent memory, I've just never seen a linebacker be that dynamic before. But
Oh, are you talking about the play in the red zone?
yes.
It was CD Lamb, dude.
Oh, see, I thought it
And
was,
he went from like a fake blitz look, and he dropped all the way back like 20 something yards into like coverage on CD,
yeah. So I mean,
which was absolutely crazy.
that dude's a freak. Like, they probably have
Yeah,
probably the best linebacker core in the NFL. But we gotta,
yeah,
yeah, the Cowboys, man. But also, I feel like Dak is catching far too much of this blame. It's a whole
mm,
offense. Is Dak some of the issue? Yes. Throwing two picks in a playoff game is not going to win you many games. But even from the Cowboys media, they tweet out like a snippet from Micah Parsons post game or something where he said, something along the lines of, our offense just can't give it away two times, or they got two free possessions or something like that. And so,
yeah.
even for a team to be putting that out on social media is kind of indicative of their stance on Dak. So I mean, yeah, they have a hell of an
Hmm.
off season. It's going to be a long couple months for the Cowboys.
Yeah, the thing is like if the Cowboys feel like the issue really is Dak, which I don't think they really do. I think they're kind of rocking with Dak. But
Hmm.
if you think that Dak's time is up and the Dak experiment is over, where do you go from Dak? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he is just like we were talking about with Derek Carr. He's still a top half starting quarterback in the league. You know what I mean? So it's
Hmm.
like if unless you're gonna go out and get Aaron Rodgers in the offseason, like you gotta be willing to give some pieces up if you're gonna try to bring in another top tier quarterback. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think it's just a plug and play situation where you can go get someone in the draft and be ready to rock next year. You know what I mean? So unless you're thinking full rebuild, you better be willing to give up some of those nice looking young pieces that you have. And I'm not sure that they're willing to do that, but at the same time, like something's not working. Like we got to figure something out here. It's like you have a playmaker at the wide receiver spot. You've got a good backfield when Tony Pollard is healthy. Like where do you go from here on the offensive side of the ball? Like what else does Dak need? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just it's a very cloudy situation.
Yeah, and I mean, I saw a little snippet. I mean, there's a bunch of guys up for contract this season. I mean, Pollard's up for a contract. I think Elliott is either up for a contract or he's like within a year. I mean, Dalton Schultz is up for a contract. I mean, Micah Parsons going to be due. CD Lamb's going to be due. There's a lot of moving pieces, and I mean, I think you're right, TC. I mean, like, who else do you really go get? I mean, unless you're just selling out and you're going to try to bring in like a veteran quarterback. But I mean, I don't see Dallas going out and trying to draft someone, especially with Prescott only having a year left on his contract. Like, what are they going to do? Sit Prescott to draft someone else? Like, I mean, Prescott wants to be a starter. He's not just going to sit there and mentor someone knowing he's going to get the boot necessarily. So it's going to be Cowboys are going to be one of those teams that I think it's going to be very interesting to watch this offseason and to see what they do. And I mean, they might be looking at a new OC too if Kellen Moore ends up getting a job somewhere else, which I'm assuming might happen,
Yeah, and
but
all those
we'll see.
dudes that you just mentioned are coming off of rookie deals too. So they are gonna,
Yeah, they're going to want to get
yeah, and
paid.
they're some of the most, Micah Parsons is probably one of the
hmm
most transcendent athletes that of our generation, and we're witnessing it in front of our eyes. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, and then you got Van Der Esch and Diggs, and I mean these are all dudes who are high value players who will get scooped up if they're available. So yeah, I mean,
yeah,
the Cowboys probably need to make a decision if they're gonna, move on from some of these dudes and go after a big name at, quarterback or in the offensive room or whatever it is, or if they're
yeah,
gonna, try to just continue what they're doing and just pay their current team. So, um, I would definitely move sooner rather than later on part of the Cowboys.
yeah.
Definitely.
Moving on to the final game, we got Bills Bengals, boys. Um,
Yeah, man, this one was a shocker.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Buffalo at home in the snow and just came out flat, and they got their asses whooped, man. Um, I mean, I did call it. Bengals were the dark horse for me in the AFC. I called it at the beginning of the playoffs. I said, boy, this is really reminding me of last year. It's
hmm
Mahomes and Allen, and who's going to have the final say so. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, here comes Joey Burrow and
Yeah.
that incredible offense. And all of a sudden, the defense is playing opportunistic, and they just got things rolling. And the Bills just imploded, man.
hmm
And like just really crazy to see, especially at home in the snow. What are your guys' initial takeaways?
I mean, that's like that's ideal scenario for Buffalo, right? I mean, it's crappy weather. It's at their home stadium. Like it's kind of where they want teams, and they just didn't perform, man. And I mean, they were just falling. Everyone's seen it, but I mean, they were just falling apart at the end of the game, man. They didn't know what to do. Like that Bengals defense is just showing up. Everyone was a little worried after that Baltimore game, with the second string QB, but I mean, the Bengals defense is really, really good, and they have a lot of good playmakers on that defense that don't really get talked about a whole lot. Um, and I mean, they played a perfect game to beat Buffalo. I thought so. I mean, props to them, man. There's a reason why they're here, and I mean, Joe Burrow, man. I mean, what? I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, he doesn't get nearly enough credit as he should, in my opinion, but he played a great game.
yeah, I mean, to describe the Bills' performance, I would just say just lost, man. Like,
Mm,
and then their GM gets on the podium after the game and complains because the Bengals have young players who are on rookie deals. Like, that's what you're gonna go for. Like,
yeah.
yeah. Uh, so I mean, especially when you have your offense and defense are both top five in the league, and you're gonna complain about the other
Mm,
team's contract situation like that at home in the snow with your so-called Bills Mafia. Like, like at what point is it time to buckle down and realize like the step to moving forward is realizing they are the issue. The current team is the issue. Something's got to change. I don't know if it's coordinators or personnel or what, but obviously this thing isn't working. You can't get past the Chiefs, now you can't get past the Bengals, and like we mentioned, the Jags are rising. They're in the AFC, so uh
mm,
I mean, just where to go, man. But yeah, the Bengals, just a solid effort overall from the boys. Like TC was saying, very opportunistic defense. Kind of a bend don't break kind of thing. Make a mistake, and then you give it back to that offense who is
yeah.
going to score some points. Um,
Mm,
dude, I don't know if you guys have watched any. I think he was a former Steeler. TC, Mike Hilton. He was a former Steeler. No, yeah,
Yeah,
dude,
yeah,
just go watch some of his tape, dude. Like he's like 180 pounds, and he just flings his body around, dude. I was watching
he is
some
incredible.
Twitter clips, dude, and he's just launching himself at Gabe Davis over the middle and just all this different stuff. So, but yeah, no, the Bills, man, yeah, and then you got the whole Diggs and Allen situation. It seems like there's some turmoil there,
yeah.
and so I just don't know, man. Especially since they had the plot armor too going into the playoffs, man.
hmm
So I
Yeah.
don't even know.
Definitely. Mike Hilton's probably one of the best like slot coverage guys in the league, man. Definitely
hmm
sad that the Steelers weren't able to keep him for the long term. I believe he also had a pick in that game, if I'm not mistaken, as well. But yeah, just really, it's a whole different skill set in the slot, right? It's those small, shifty, quick guys versus on
Mm-hmm.
the outside, you're going to see more of the Devontae Adams, D Hop type guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And obviously, Stephon Diggs can line up on the outside, and small, quick guys line up on the outside as well. But just a completely different ball game when you're playing on the inside slot receiver. But yeah, man, I just want to kind of get your guys' thoughts on the Bills in general.
Mm.
In the late 2010s, they're kind of building and building, and all of a sudden, Allen comes in, really changes the perspective of the whole franchise. And it
Yeah.
seems like the last 3 years, they have been the next team up, air quotations. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
And have just not been able to get it done. A couple of you know deep playoff runs in there, but ultimately can't get over the hump. Are they chokers? Are there better days ahead? Is this just a speed bump on their ultimate journey? What are you guys thinking? I mean, I know a lot of their players are going to be up for contract, kind of like Dallas is too. But what are you guys thinking? How are you viewing the Bills?
I think they're actually in a really similar position that Dallas is in right now. Um, I mean, I would consider Josh Allen a better quarterback than Dak Prescott personally, but I mean, they're in a similar situation. Like it always comes down to like I know they had that crazy playoff game with the Chiefs last year, that went into overtime and all that. Um, but I mean, like they are definitely in a try to win now mode, and they have been the past few years. But I mean, you get a couple like either next season or the season after that. Like if you still don't have, which I'm assuming is a Super Bowl, is your goal, like even just making it there. I mean, if they don't make it, I mean, you know, Josh Allen might be gone. You know, Stephon Diggs, man, I am I'm worried for him this offseason. I feel like he, kind of had some similar issues in Minnesota when he was there with, some personnel kind of stuff and kind of some off the field, on the field type stuff. And I mean, he's productive, but I mean, how much longer are they going to be willing to kind of put up with all that kind of stuff, when they're trying to focus on winning games and that kind of stuff. But it's really interesting. They're in a really similar situation though to Dallas. So
Yeah, I mean, I think until further notice, I'd say they're just a regular season team. I mean, year after
yeah,
year, we just seen them, be the 1 or 2 seed going into the playoffs, and then just get outcoached, outplayed. I mean, you could throw the dictionary at this one. Like, it's just something about it, man. Like you're saying, also, I think teams just need to understand like some of these issues need to be dealt with behind closed doors. Like on the
absolutely.
sideline of a playoff game is not the time for Stephon Diggs to be barking at his quarterback. Like that's just it's
Yeah.
not the way to do it. It only causes issues, and then the reports come out that he stormed out of the stadium and someone had to bring him back, and then he storms out again, and it's just like it's never ending
Yeah.
thing. But I mean, I think until they prove otherwise, they're just a regular season team, man.
Yeah. Yeah, but which I mean,
Yeah,
don't get us wrong. I mean, he's allowed to be upset about like not performing well or being 100%. I mean, you're allowed to, but I mean, there's got to be like a receiver coach or somebody saying, "Hey, man, listen, like we're still playing. Like it's not over yet. Like we like yelling at your quarterback ain't the move. Especially, I mean, you're a veteran in this league. You've been around for a long time. Like you got to chill. You got to be a leader here. So go ahead, TC. Sorry.
no, I think that's one of the most like annoying things that you see on a consistent basis in the NFL is like the wide receiver barking at the quarterback, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And in this particular situation, Josh Allen, probably a top 3 quarterback in the league, is your quarterback. Like
Mm-hmm.
if it was just that easy for him to see you open and throw it to you, he probably would.
Every
You know what
single
I
play.
mean?
Yeah.
Cincinnati has you guys in the box, man. You guys are all
Yeah.
boxed up. Like he's not trying to
Mm-hmm.
not get you the ball. Like he wants to go down the field and score and win and do the touchdown celebration and all that stuff. But like you guys are in the box right now. Like
Yeah.
barking at him is not going to make anything better. You know what I mean? I just always thought that was so annoying,
Yeah.
especially in this situation when your quarterback's Josh Allen. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, if you're a receiver, you have to be one, maybe two guys. If you're, Devonte Adams or Megatron, But and then Josh Allen's sitting back there, and he has 5 dudes to throw to. He has 5 300-pound offensive linemen standing in front of him, and then he's got Trey Hendrickson and Tyler Hubbard rushing off the edges at him. So like, I
Yeah.
mean, just
Yeah.
like, I understand if you want to say something to him, and go up and talk into his ear or whatever, and say something to him directly, that's perfectly
Sure.
fine. You're allowed to do that as a human being, but barking at him and throwing your hands up and throwing a fit is just not the move, man. You guys are supposed to be role models for kids. Like, it's just the whole thing,
Yeah.
man. But
Yeah. And then
Yeah,
like
like
hitting.
if you go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead, TC. No, you're good.
No, I was just gonna say, like, if you want to tell them, like, hey, like, look for me on the skinny post next time I was wide open, like, that's one thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, something productive, like, hey, when we checked to this, like, that I was open last night, whatever it is, you know what I mean? But to
Mhm.
carry on is just way too much.
Yeah, and then like especially after the game, like he's hitting Twitter and he's like, everybody's like seeing what he's posting, man, and it's like, dude, like everyone already got you during the game, and now like you're posting all this stuff, like do you know how much like bad attention are you not only bringing to yourself, your quarterback, the organization, your coaches? Like it's not a good look, man, and like you're a good team, like be a good team, be professional, and like do your thing, but man, like yeah, I mean, we just lay off Twitter after the game. And I mean, a lot of athletes are like guilty of that, but like you got to lay off for a little bit. Like, I mean, you're not a rookie
Definitely.
anymore.
absolutely, boys. All right, so we're looking over the, wrapped up our divisional round. We'll get to our pickems later in the episode here, but um, let's go through all 3 of our personal teams. Let's talk about our wants and needs for the offseason, boys. I don't know if anyone wants to go first. If anyone's got anything, anyone needs a minute to think here.
I mean, I'll go first. Okay, I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start at the top. Dan Snyder needs to go. We need to be done. Like man, I know that he's not the only place where the problems are, but like we have to, like we cannot move on as a football team, as a newly branded football team, carrying all of the baggage that dude has carried since he became owner of the team. And I'm not saying you have to have a crazy football background to be an owner. I know that all the owners, a lot of businessmen, as long as you know how the money moves around and you're putting butts in those seats, like that's what your job is. But that dude is so out of touch with what the team needs and what like the fan base needs. I mean, bro, you were called the Washington football team for a year and you came back with the Washington Commanders. And not one person at that board table said, the Washington Commies could be a nickname for us. And they signed off on it. And we're rolling with that. And like, I mean, dude, we didn't have a name for our team for a season and
What
a
about
half. Like, that's
what about Major
crazy.
Tuddy?
Yep.
Okay. No, well, I'm not doing it. I'm not talking about Major Tuddy right now. He's just so tone deaf. I'll move on past him because I could talk for hours about that dude. No, I mean, numero uno, we got to get our quarterback situation figured out. Stat like yesterday. I think Carson Wentz has got to go. I mean, just injuries and injuries and injuries, and then he comes back in. He throws 3 interceptions. I can't do it. Taylor Heineke, I love the dude. I love how he plays. He is a man of the people. People love playing with him. Do I think he's like long term, like far down the road kind of guy? I don't know yet. As much as I do like him. I mean, Hal's a good option. Another young guy, out of North Carolina. I mean, good option. I don't know. I mean, we're just so far in mediocrity. It's just like they gotta figure out a quarterback, which they just need to figure out who it is, and they need to play that guy. They need to play him for the whole season, barring any injuries or anything like that. So I mean,
What
quarterback,
would you roll with Taylor Heineke if they came out and said he's going to start all year?
absolutely. But like if they said like they're gonna roll with him, yeah, I think so. I mean, like I said, is he the guy long term? No, but I feel like he hasn't had a season where they just literally looked him in the face and said, "You're the guy. Do your thing. Like do what you're like.
Yeah.
Do you?" I mean, which is a lot. I mean, the quarterback position. I mean, it's has a lot to do with confidence. And I mean, if you're like sitting there playing and you're not sure if no matter how hard you worked for that team and what place you are in your division, like homeboy's going to come back next week and you're going to get benched, and then the third string guy's going to play over you. Like, that's not good. You don't want that in your starting quarterback. Like, you don't want uncertainty. That's not the position to do it at. You want to do that at, defensive tackle. You want to do that at like, a subbing, nickel position guy. Fine, do it. But like, not your quarterback. Um, I mean, they're really the rest of the offense, man. I mean, we need to pay McLaurin whatever he wants. Literally a blank check for that dude. I feel like we have a really good like receiver base. I feel like the line is decent enough. The defensive like front seven look good. We could, I think, use um, probably some defensive backs. I feel like in the draft, would really like to see them try to go after like some good defensive backs or like a good like safety. It's kind of where I feel like we've kind of gotten burned the most. But I mean, number one, dude, is just we got to get our quarterback room figured out.
Yeah, I mean,
Personally,
Yeah,
from my
definitely. You guys are kind of stuck in the middle.
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, if you don't have a quarterback, you really don't have anything. But you guys do have good enough quarterback play to make
Mm-hmm.
things interesting.
Yeah.
In the regular season, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, being stuck in the middle kind of sucks because you're not going to have those top draft picks. You're not going to be able to go and get that guy.
Yeah.
And I don't think Washington is really a lot of free agents' number one destination. So
No, not
um,
at all.
I think definitely shoring up that quarterback spot would definitely help out with some of that. Just knowing who's going to be throwing the ball to you or handing the ball to you,
yeah,
you
I think
know.
Yeah,
they kind of have
absolutely.
kind of two little options to go here. Option one is figure out their quarterback position. Maybe have to trade away some of those, key defensive linemen and whatnot. Get the quarterback that's going to be your dude for a long time. Or, you decide you're going to roll with Heineke and let Sam Howell sit under him for a couple of years and kind of that be your game plan moving forward. Maybe, see if you can get someone to free
Yeah.
agency. I don't know who any free agent quarterbacks coming out of college are. See if they can mentor him up and just bolster that defense, man. Maybe find a good corner target, like trade for like a Patrick Surtain or someone of that caliber who can really bolster things on the secondary. So, I mean, yeah, I agree with the owner because, like TC was saying, not it being a destination, geographically, not really a great destination. It's the weather's a little iffy here and there, kind of thing, but yeah, I mean, if the owner sucks, you're not going to get players to come and play for you. That's a hard sell.
Right.
Exactly.
So, but
I mean, I feel like the only kind of the saving grace that I mean, like Washington can hang their hat on is 3 out of the 4 teams made the playoffs this year and made it to the divisional round. Like, I mean, that's
Yeah.
insane. I mean, to a division that used to be such a joke. I mean, the NFC East. I mean, 3 out of the 4 teams made the playoffs, and Washington almost made the playoffs. Like they were like a win or two away and like a loss away from another team from all 4 teams in the NFC East making the playoffs. So I mean, there's some light at the end of that tunnel. But I mean, yeah, no one wants to go play at Washington, especially with their stupid mascot and stupid crap. No one wants to go there. I wouldn't, but what do I know?
Definitely. Um. Yeah. We kind of want to move on to my Pittsburgh Steelers, man.
Mhm.
I think we're in a really good spot. I think we're in a really good spot.
I
I would
agree,
say,
100%.
yeah, definitely. The first thing on the list is just for questions to be answered about the offensive coordinator, Matt Canada. For a lot of the year, his play calling was called into question. From my perspective, I don't know if it's bad play calling or if he's trying to protect his quarterback with, um, you know, we start out the year with Mitch Trubisky, who is a bottom half starter in the league. Last year wasn't even a starter in the league. We move on to our rookie Kenny Pickett. You want to have a quick get the ball out of your hands scenario, and that's a lot of what he was calling. We didn't have a lot of explosive plays throughout the year. But again, I just want questions to be answered. Like, are we going to move on from Matt Canada? Are we rolling with the guy?
Yeah,
Early reports are saying that we're rolling with Matt Canada. So I think it might be good to have a little bit of continuity there. Obviously, Kenny Pickett's coming back, and if we have the offensive coordinator coming back, maybe things are looking up for the next season. Personnel wise, I think offense, we're super young and we kind of have to let that play out.
Yeah.
Um,
But Pickett's your guy though,
defensive,
right? Like Pickett 100% has to be your guy moving forward, right? In your opinion?
definitely, yeah.
Okay.
And I would say that George Pickens has to be our number one receiver. Deontay Johnson is a number two. He's not a number one. So if Pickens can keep developing later in the season, he was definitely looking like he's going to be our wide receiver one going into next year. Just the size, the athleticism, some of the catches he's able to make,
Mm-hmm.
a very quarterback friendly target.
Yeah.
And then obviously Najee, Pat Fryermuth, even Deontay Johnson is not very old. So we just need to let that develop. I keep that how it is. Defensively, however, my number one wish is for a cornerback, a starting cornerback. We went out and got Levi Wallace in the offseason last year, and he's supposed to be the guy. He's a number two, much like Deontay Johnson on the other side of the ball. He's a number two, a great number two at that too. But we need a number one, not named Jalen Ramsey. Please, for the love of God, let it be someone else besides Jalen Ramsey. We do not need that.
Uh,
Great player, but I don't think we need to go that route. A lot of people are wanting us to take Joey Porter Jr. out of Penn State. I would just love that pick, obviously, with
come full
Joey
circle.
Porter being a Steelers great. That would be just awesome. Plus, the kid is just an absolute baller.
Yes.
Um, and then my wish for that linebacking core is to bring in another Edmonds brother. Bring in Tremaine, man. Get him from
He's a free agent.
Buffalo. We need,
Yeah.
yeah, we need to get Devin Bush out of there, man, because
Yeah.
we moved up in the draft a couple of years ago to go get the guy, and he is just not panned out. He is an absolute liability. There's clips of him running by running backs and then just getting toasted in coverage. Just hasn't panned out in Pittsburgh. I hope the best for the guy, but I think it's time to move on. I'm thinking he's probably gonna. We're not gonna renew his contract after the season. So, yeah, man, a middle linebacker and a corner, and I think we're ready to roll. And then just keep squeezing what life Cam Hayward has left. Just wring that out until it's all gone,
Yeah.
man, because we need that boy in the middle.
Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
was gonna say, sorry,
Yeah.
Frank. Um, I'd say your two needs are like a true bump and run corner, like a Marshawn Lattimore, a Surtain, someone of that nature, who can you can just say, all right, we're gonna put you on their best receiver all game, like that's who you're covering. So I think benefit from that, Spillane or Spillane, I don't know how you say his name, but he's turned into a solid little player, man. He's a true Mike linebacker. So I think you use someone on the outside who can maybe a little more mobile, cover the pass a little bit more. Dude,
Yep.
honestly, I think you guys could benefit hugely from like an Isaiah Simmons type thing where he can just kind of do everything. Like, oh, you need a nickelback? He's there. You need a free safety? He's there. You need a linebacker who can rush off the edge and knock someone's block off? He's also that. So, yeah, and then
Yeah.
maybe like just a mid to upper level to opposite TJ Watt on the defensive line, someone to get off their quarterback. Doesn't have to be,
Mm-hmm.
a Premier Von Miller or someone like that, but just, someone so they can't just double team with a chip on TJ Watt kind of thing. So
Yeah, I mean, TC, you hit it pretty much nail on the head, dude. I mean, I think the key word for the Steelers is like patience. Like you got an extremely young team. Like you gotta let that offense figure themselves out. You gotta uh, sit there and I mean, I thought getting rid of Claypool was a really good move. Um, I mean, they're kind of weeding out some of those guys they're not sure about, and I think having a super young team. I mean, of course, I don't know all the inner workings of how that all that went down, but I think like they're kind of molding it and they're kind of letting the young guys like be in a good environment, which is good. I mean, Tomlin, excellent coach, man. Um, but I think you hit it nail on the head, dude. I mean, I think you go out and I think you draft um, I think you use your draft pick on like a corner. I think that would be a great addition to that defense. And, like you're saying, I mean, a linebacker that's, a little bit more, mobile, kind of a, monkey wrench kind of guy you can throw in there would be a great addition to your defense. I mean, Mika Fitzpatrick's not going anywhere. He's great. Obviously you got old Watt holding down one side, Hayward in the middle. Like, you guys are in a great spot. You really are. Like you are a couple good free agent signings away from being a serious problem for teams, in my opinion.
Def- Definitely. And then we've got some like up and coming dudes on the defense as well. You know, last year it was kind of Minka and TJ and Cam Hayward and then everyone else. This year we saw Alex Highsmith in the sack leading conversation. Robert Spillane, like Chacha touched on, he really came on later in the season. It's going to be interesting, man, because the Steelers have some draft capital coming in. We completed the highway robbery with the Chicago Bears. They gave up their second round pick for Claypool. So I think that's actually going to be the 32nd pick in the draft, and then we have like the 17th. So hopefully that
Great spot.
17th, man. Yeah, like I believe that a team might have lost a first round pick in the off season for some sort of violation. That's why that Bears pick is actually going to be number 32 instead
Oh,
of
okay.
33. But yeah, man, we're in a really good spot. Like I said, the offense is young, and we just need time to develop. And Kenny Pickett, man, it's really on his shoulders now. It's his job, and it's going to be exciting to see what he can do with a full season and a whole off season to prepare.
I just thought of your perfect draft pick, TC, in the back of my head. The boy, Christian
What?
Gonzalez from Oregon.
Pretty good
Wow.
one.
Because
Yeah.
I mean, from the early mock boards I'm seeing it, they're having Porter go within like the top 10. I think he's like 10th or 11th in most of them. So, but I mean, you never know. They could, like you said, you got a lot of draft capital. So moving from 17 to 9 may not be as hard of a jump as
Mm-hmm.
you think. So, but yeah, you got dudes like
Yeah.
Gonzo back there too. So, definitely something to keep an eye on moving forward.
Yeah. TC, I love your take on Jalen Ramsey too. I'm just thinking about what him and Pickens would be like in
Jesus.
practice, and there is absolutely no way you can have those two on the field playing opposite. There, I mean, felonies will occur 100%. Like two guys
Yeah,
are very
100%,
serious about
man.
what they do.
Not not only all the baggage that comes with having Jalen Ramsey and the trash talk and the ego and all that stuff, but man, like the shelf life for a cornerback just really isn't that long. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So you don't really know what you're getting when you go out and get one of these veteran guys.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen Stephon Gilmore and Josh Norman and stuff like that, where they have a
Yeah.
very dominant run and then it ends
Yeah.
very abruptly. So I
Yeah.
just don't want to be the team that goes out and spends all the money for something that I wouldn't be
Right.
sure about. You know what I mean?
100%. Excellent take, TC. Chachi,
Where do I start?
please,
Um,
please tell us about how Michael Thomas should be on your
okay,
roster
so
still.
This is interesting, man. The Saints are a
so
good one.
I mean, I think first and
Yeah.
foremost, we need to get our quarterback room figured out. Like, if it's going to be James, I don't
Yeah.
think Jameis is the answer. I mean, it seems like he's kind of past his shelf life of just the NFL in general.
Yeah.
Anyways, Andy Dalton is a a great locker room guy. He's a great mentor, but
Yeah.
I don't think
Great.
he's our starting quarterback. He's a great guy to keep around.
A
Sure.
great
He's back.
backup.
Great
Like, he
backup.
can go in and
Excellent.
win you, 3 games, so your quarterback can get better off a sprained ankle or something like that. Um,
Yeah.
so
Mm-hmm.
getting the quarterback figured out, and this draft is not very quarterback heavy. So I would like Derek Carr. I mean, I wouldn't love Dak necessarily, but I think Derek Carr would be.
So you're talking about a free agency pick then. You're not even thinking about the possibility of CJ
We
Stroud,
don't even have a first round draft pick.
You
possibly.
got
What?
you think you're ready to roll?
What do you mean?
Like you think you're just like
Oh,
a
no, no,
quarterback
no,
away?
no.
You guys are ready to
That's just
roll
my
besides
first
the
address.
quarterback?
Okay, I have out of 5. So
Yeah.
Oh,
just
okay.
buckle in here, boys. Yeah.
So you're saying free
I think
agency?
free agency, I mean, if we could move up in the draft, I would love that. But I mean, that kind of ties into my second point here. So, point 2 is figure out this Michael Thomas, Kamara, whatever the hell is going on. Like, Michael Thomas, I get he's hurt and all that stuff, but from what the Saints did, they kind of like converted his salary to say, hey, no, you need to make a decision by whenever the date is. I think it's July 1st or something like that. If you're going to play, then we'll give
Yeah.
your same contract that you're going to have. But if you're not, we're giving you a signing bonus and you can hit the road. So, which I like. It's I mean we're
Yeah.
paying him a lot of money to be injured every season. So and then Kamara, like he's splitting carries with David Johnson when we're contending for a playoff spot.
Yeah.
Like, what is that?
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah, like he has a $75 million contract. So like these dudes either need to learn to play or we need to trade them and for just absolute highway robbery someone, one of these like Jets or something like that who are looking to sell all everything for these good players. So that's kind of step two
Yeah.
is we need to figure out what we're going to do with these pieces that aren't quite fitting into the puzzle. Olave, great pickup. He's going to be a great athlete, a great little, kind of gadget player. He's not maybe the Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase, but certainly can do a long range of things. And I think he's a really good route runner as well. So, yeah, I'd like to see him once we get a quarterback, and then if we figure out this Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara situation, that'd be great. Jameis Winston's already up on contract, so I say we go ahead and sail that down the river. Third, I got revamping the offense / new play caller. Uh, I mean, it seems like we just ran a 2018 Saints offense without Drew Brees and the Jimmy Grahams and
Yeah.
the scheme basically. Like
Yeah.
again, love all the players, love what the Saints bring, but there's not what we need, man. Especially with Olave and Jarvis Landry and all these dudes and Kamara. Like we need to be more effective with our playmakers. So much wasted talent, man. Um, the defense, not too many concerns. I would like another linebacker to pair with Demario Davis. You know, Demario Davis is probably one of the greatest free agent signings in history. He played 98.7% of all snaps on defense, so which is crazy. He's like 33 or 34 or something like that. Um, the secondary is really good. Marshawn Lattimore had a tough time staying healthy, but young guy stepped in. Alontae Taylor from Tennessee played great. Kind of did exactly what Marshawn Lattimore does well as well. So at safety, you got Tyrann Mathieu back there. He has a bigger contract, but he played solid again. He's kind of more of a run stuffer or kind of ball hawk every now and again kind of thing. So like what we're doing there. Um, I think a pass rusher is also another need. Um, Honestly, maybe
Yeah.
get into some deals with the Redskins or something, like a good interior, one of the De'Aaron Payne or
Whoa,
the
whoa,
Sweat
whoa,
or
whoa,
something like that.
whoa. The
A sidebar.
Commanders. What is this?
Yeah. Chach, have your people call
All
his
right, sounds
people
good.
and make it
Mack,
happen.
I'll be hearing from him
Hey, dude,
shortly.
we can work something out for sure.
Um, yeah, and then the offensive
Yeah.
coordinator.
We're looking for washed up
Hey,
backup
we got one for
quarterbacks.
you. Yeah, no, and then offensive coordinator. I think it is time for him to go. Did he? Because I mean, he was like not even he was like assistant to the offensive coordinator. Like Sean Payton was calling plays for however
Mm,
many years, and he was a genius at it. And so Pete Carmichael just sitting
yeah.
behind him. Which I mean, does he sit with Sean Payton every day? Yes, but is he Sean Payton? Also, no. Like it's not apples to
Nah.
apples. So I think that needs to move and also, I
Yeah.
think Dennis Allen needs to be on a extremely short lease moving into next season. So,
Yeah, Chacha. I had one question for you. Where you at with Taysom Hill?
I mean, the way his contract is right now, it's fine, but I don't think he's a starting quarterback. So, I mean, if they want to convert him back to a normal contract, perfect. He's not a starting quarterback. It's just not going to happen. I mean, I like the gadget plays and stuff they're fine, but I think again it comes at inopportune times. Like, Andy Dalton will be clicking, getting the ball out quick and 10, 15, 20, all the way down the field, and then they'll just put Taysom Hill in there, run a read option for -4 yards and like just kill everything we had going. So if we're within the 10-yard line, absolutely throw Taysom Hill in there and run power 3 times and see if we get in the end zone. Love that. You don't have to give Kamara the ball and risk him getting injured. You don't have to throw the ball and risk an interception, or you can. I mean, Taysom Hill had a couple like 45-yard plus touchdown passes, so I don't hate it, but when we get if hopefully when we get a more competent quarterback, it's a little harder, like even in Drew's final years, you have a Hall of Fame quarterback sitting on the sideline. And so it's a little tough to watch sometimes, but like I said, the defense and the juice they bring is great stuff. Marshawn Lattimore's one of the better man on man corners in the league. So Cameron Jordan's doing his thing, throwing up 11 sacks a year at like 35 now. So that's great stuff out of him. Yeah, and But I mean, with Tom leaving the division potentially, like we're in a prime spot to be in win now mode. I think we're just a couple pieces away from that kind of being our reality. So
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Taysom Hill thing is super interesting, Josh, because no one else is doing that, and especially the people who aren't doing that are the Chiefs with Mahomes and the Bills with Allen, and the Bengals with Burrow. You know, these teams that have their long term superstar quarterbacks, like when they're inside the 5 yard line, like those guys
uh-huh.
aren't coming off the field. You know what I mean? Like those are your playmakers. You know what I mean? So it's kind of interesting take that you have there, like oh, like like just crazy to think, like you were saying, like in the Drew Brees years, that you have a Hall of Fame quarterback on the sidelines for key plays in the game just because it's a change of pace
Exactly.
kind of play. You know what I mean? Just a really interesting experiment going on with the
Yeah, and
Saints
it's
right
like
now in
one of those
Taysom
things.
Hill.
Like, sorry, Schmank, sorry to cut you
Yeah.
off again. I know I've done it like 3 times now. But
No, you're
it's one of those things that,
you're good.
like,
Go ahead.
when it's working and Taysom's picking up yards and running dudes over, you love to see it. But then like when they're we're in these games, like the final game of the season, like we had to beat the Panthers for potentially a playoff spot, and we lost like 12-7, and like. Taysom Hill's just in there getting negative yards, and we just keep doing it over and over again, man. It's just like it's like this freaking scene in B movie when he's just running into the glass and he runs into the glass like 17 times in a row. And he's like, maybe this time, maybe this time. It's just like that over and over again, man. It just drives me insane. I just want to throw rocks at my TV.
Great movie.
I,
You like
I,
jazz?
I just feel like they've made it so apparent that like Taysom Hill is not going to be their starting quarterback ever, and like that whole contract like that he signed, man. I mean, one of the craziest contracts we've ever seen ever, and like it kind of just feels like they're just doing it because he's on the team. Like another team's not going to go out and offer him that contract. You know what I mean? Like, dude, you either need to get your stuff in order and become a running back, or you need to trim down and be a wide receiver, or they got to do something. But like this kind of delusional like take that they have that they're going to keep bringing in all these veteran quarterbacks and then sub in Taysom Hill whenever they feel like it because they can. I mean, it's not going to work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then the announcers just like drool over it. There's like, oh, Taysom Hill's the first dude ever to fucking eat
Oh
a hot
yeah,
dog and then rush for a touchdown in the same game. And I'm just like, dude, no one cares. Like, it just drives me crazy, dude.
yeah,
Like,
Yeah,
just a nightmare,
yeah,
dude. I think he just needs to play tight end. Like,
yeah.
he's a big physical dude. He needs to gain like 20
Mm,
pounds this offseason and go play tight end. Like, there's kind of a hole there, anyways. We don't really have, I mean, shout out Juwan
yeah.
Johnson, absolute baller, man. Like 7 or 8 touchdown catches, and
Hmm.
he's a big body who can also run.
Yeah.
So, shout out Juwan Johnson. Never forget when he
Yeah.
scored 2 touchdowns against USC. But, anyways, um, yeah,
Beautiful.
boys. So, the Saints have some off-season work to do, and we're like $98 million over the cap. So, but that's honestly light
like
work.
us to be.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like the biggest thing. I mean, Michael Thomas needs to figure himself out. I mean, Kamara. I mean, you're paying that dude how much money to split carries? I mean, it's the same exact situation that
With
Zeke and Pollard
David
are in. You know what
Johnson.
I mean? I mean, how much are they? Yeah, I mean, how much are they paying Zeke to get 21 yards in a freaking divisional game? Like, what are we doing? So Kamara's in the same boat. I know Kamara's a bit more versatile than Zeke is, but still, I
Definitely.
mean,
Also, one more
it's a lot of
closing
money.
thought. Why are you not using Kamara exactly how the 49ers use McCaffrey? Like, get in there and pitch him the ball to the outside. Like, the off tackle stuff is
No.
not where Kamara is going to earn his money. Like, throw him a screen pass, a swing
Mm-mm.
pass, anything. Just get him out in some space, man. He's like one
Yeah.
of the most gifted runners of
Yeah.
ever. Like, and his balance is incredible. And just, gosh, man, this team drives me crazy, man.
They just got to use the guys, that they have. I mean, they just have to better
Exactly.
utilize the players and like stop being delusional about what you have.
Yeah, and if they can't freaking do that, then they're not the guy for the job. So, but we could be down this rabbit hole for
Yeah.
hours, boys. And I don't want to get too caught up in it here. So, boys, got a little game for you guys. It's gonna be a quick one here. So here it is. Here's how
Yeah.
it's gonna work. So I have a list of 7 things. Okay, they're all kind of sports related esque, And so basically, I'm going to try to get you boys to guess these 7 things in less than 25 words. So basically, I'm going to I'm going to, say a little phrase or whatever, try to make you guys guess it. And then if you guess wrong, then I have to say more words. I can't just elaborate on what I said before, so I have to say more words to make you get the current item, if that makes sense. Okay, so I got 7 things here, 25 words. Let's keep track here, see if we can do her. All right. The cheetah. Okay.
Tyreek Hill.
Scoring in baseball.
Home plate.
Ball over fence. Okay.
Home
run. Field, not grass. Hey.
Turf.
New restaurant Tehachapi. Hey.
Chipotle.
I was going to say something. I was going to be wrong. The Laker dismantler. Yeah.
The Laker dismantler. Is it Kawhi?
I
was about to make a horrible joke.
I almost made that same exact joke. But anyways.
It's way too close.
Afro short shorts. Oh no, this is going horribly wrong.
Oh no.
So I don't want to guess it and make you say more words. Afro and short shorts has got to be like Julius Irving or something.
No.
Am I on the right track?
Okay. Okay. So remember so he's the Laker dismantler, Afro and short shorts. He's not Irish, but he's. Oh no.
It's obviously basketball here.
I feel like we're gonna get...
It's Khabib.
He's not Irish.
I mean, he fought McGregor, so I mean, I figured
the Lakers. Okay, I think we're gonna have to move on. I mean, I think it's chalked anyways, but okay.
Stop.
Okay. Oh gosh, I don't know where to go from this one, man. Okay, last hint. Tweet. First to his name.
I mean,
no way. Okay, moving on.
Tweet.
I mean, is he talking about Birdman?
Thank you, Jesus
Christ.
It's
Larry Bird.
Okay. Gosh, I don't know how the hell we're gonna get this one here, boys.
No, we got it.
Okay, one single dude. No.
Timothy.
All right, so I'll just do a piggyback off that one. Many girls is the second hint.
Many girls, one single dude. Josh, what are you trying to make us guess here?
It's really not that complex.
I mean, is he talking about a TV show?
Thank you, Sean.
Is it The Bachelor? It's The Bachelor.
Okay, inside the 25. Let's go. All right,
Red
boys.
zone.
So we got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 36. boys, 36 words that time. So
All right, we're definitely have to improve on that. And I'm just getting the he's not Irish thing because
he's
he's
not
Celtic.
Irish, but he's from Boston. Because
Oh,
Got
I was
it.
thinking maybe the town,
Yeah.
kind of that kind of thing, But
yeah.
Yeah.
we move on.
Yeah.
Larry Bird choked it, but boys, we're doing so.
I mean, we were 11 words off. I mean, we were close,
Yeah, we
all things
spent
considered.
12 on Larry Bird.
11.
So
Yeah.
I don't
I
know
know,
if it wasn't for Larry
freaking
Bird.
tweet, dude. Yeah, boys. So that was our segment of 25 words or less, boys.
I like it, man. I like
So yeah,
it.
just a quick little challenge for the boys. Where to go next?
Yeah, man. Yeah, if I was a betting man, I'd say that we probably would have gotten that game, but we didn't do so hot, Schmag. Another betting man that I kind of wanted to talk about. Have you guys been following the story of Mattress Mack at all? Do you guys know who that is?
I saw a picture of who Mattress Mack is. I know that he throws a piss ton of money on games, and didn't have great luck this last weekend. But I'm not super familiar
I
with
mean,
him.
he
I don't know
sells
if Josh is
mattresses in
or
like
not.
Houston or something, right? Like that's his origin story or something. Yeah, I mean, just betting obscene amounts of money.
Yeah, definitely. So he's like a mattress kingpin in the Houston area, right? So he makes news headlines for, like Schmog said, placing large bets on all the Texas teams, right? So most notably, he put 10 million down on the Astros to win the World Series. It hit, and he wins 75 million. So all of a sudden, Mattress
Beautiful.
Mack is becoming a phenom, right?
We love
And
it.
and then you hear about him putting money
Hmm.
down on the TCU game. I think it was like 4 million that he lost, and then he's betting on Dallas and like 2 million that he lost. So definitely on a bit of a rough streak. But one thing I kind of wanted to throw out there that you guys might not know is it like he uses these bets for like promotional purposes. So basically,
For the
what
mattress
he
company.
does for the mattress company. It's all about
Uh,
it's all about the revenue, man. So what he does
wow.
is like he makes these bets public, right? He's like, "Hey, I'm about to throw 10 million down on the Astros to win. If this thing hits, I'm going to give refunds to everyone who bought a mattress between now and when
Holy,
the World Series is."
Dang.
Yeah, so basically he's making the money back either way because people are coming in trying to get that free mattress, you know what I mean? And
It
I
feels
think I think the purchase had to be over a certain amount. Like it
yeah,
had to
it's got
be
to be
over
the
a couple
Serta
thousand
memory
dollars that
foam
you had to
joint.
spend in the
Like
store or
this is no
whatever.
box spring action.
Is it just me,
Yeah.
or does something seem like oddly
I was
illegal
just gonna
about
say he's
telling
like the
people
Jordan
that?
Belfort of mattresses.
Like, for real, like there's some dude in a book with a magnifying glass. Like, that's got to be illegal somewhere. There's no way.
So yeah, man. Basically, the bottom line is Mattress Mac is winning either way, whether these bets hit or not. He's making money because he's getting people through the door. I think his sales increased like 30% or something like that after he placed the Astros bet.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he had to give some of that money away, but you got to think when you win 75 million, not all of that's going towards refunds for mattresses, right?
Yeah, I mean, no way, dude. I mean, what a like good marketing too. Because right now, I mean, like, dude, you watch like enough YouTube videos. I mean, you're gonna see someone who's doing like an ad for like Helix or like Tempur-Pedic or something. Like sleep's really like trendy right now. It seems like that and
Dude, I
like
was just
cold
gonna say
plunges.
Himhoff. I
Those
was
kind of seem to
literally
go
the,
like
the word was about to come off my
coincide.
tongue.
And so, dude, like it's good marketing. Like it's a good time to like be talking about mattresses and like, hey, dude, like and everyone's moving to Texas right now because. So like, I mean, good way to go, Mattress Mac, man. I mean, I thought he was just some dude that was losing like bad luck Brian losing a ton of money, but this dude's a genius.
Yeah, because like basically as a customer, you have a chance to get like a free purchase of a couple $1,000s. You know what I mean?
And y'all bought a mattress like recently, like anyone price check those bad boys because they're spendy. They're no joke.
Yeah, so you're almost betting your own money too. You know what I mean? When you go in
Yeah.
there, spend a couple $1,000 in the furniture store, and then if the bet doesn't hit, like,
Dude. And
well, you're
then
not getting a
and then
refund.
like
You know what I
Dang.
mean?
after the
Like,
Astros won the
that's
World
out the
Series,
door.
he's like in Vegas picking up his cash from MGM or whatever in a wheelbarrow, and he's wearing like khakis with like a a suit shirt tucked in with an Astro shirt buttoned up over it, dude. Like it's just so goaded.
Keep
Honestly,
He's a man
just
of
a
the
little old
people.
dude.
keeping it classy, man.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I just thought it was a really interesting marketing strategy, man. Definitely getting people through the doors, trying to take advantage of that deal.
All right, so I got a couple little short segments here, I guess. I just had a random thought the other day. They watching the games this past weekend, and everyone's talking about the All Star games. Um, about the NFL All Star game. I'm going to give my opinion, and I want your guys' opinion on All Star games in general.
Go ahead.
I think because obviously the NFL is doing the flag football game this year, like they're not doing the whole game like what they usually do. Part of me hates it because I feel like there's not a like crazy incentive. Like I feel like the NFL has kind of really dumbed down the All Star game to the point where it's now a flag football game. It just doesn't at all feel like it used to be, and I feel like making the Pro Bowl in the NFL used to like be such like a big deal, and you get to go to Hawaii and you get to go play in the Pro Bowl, and now it's just like it's a flag football game. And I know and I completely understand that it's like you're you're still a Pro Bowler, you still get voted in and all that stuff, but I feel like it's really taken away from what the Pro Bowl used to mean, kind of thing. And I feel like now it's just more of it kind of seems like a more of a marketing tool used by like the NFL. And I want to get your boys' opinion on what you think about it. Do you like it? Do you hate it? What are your general thoughts about it?
Yeah, let me go first on this one, Josh, because I want to say this. I think as far as like all star games or all star weekends go, NFL is probably dead last
By
with
a
all of the
long
major
shot.
sports as far as like people
100%
people's
easy.
people's interest in in watching it. Obviously, NBA, you have the 3-point competition, and you have the celebrity game and the dunk contest, which maybe the past couple of years hasn't been as exciting as it was when Andre Iguodala was killing it, or Blake Griffin's jumping over cars, or whatever
Yeah.
back in the day. But still, you're gonna tune in and see who's gonna win the dunk contest, and then the NBA All Star Game itself. You have it's more of a fun kind of atmosphere. You can still have a basketball game without like the high intensity that you would get out of like a playoff series or something. They have the 4-point shot, and people are trying to do crazy windmill alley dunks and stuff like that. So still a really cool spectacle to watch. NHL weekend, I thought last year was great. Was that the one in Vegas, if I'm not mistaken? And
Hmm.
they're shooting the pucks in the fountain, and
Yeah.
much more like personal and intimate with the players. You get to kind of know the guys under the helmet a little bit more.
Yeah.
And their All Star game is great as well. You got people flipping the puck up into the air and trying to bat it into the net and showing off skill, and kind of the same thing I was talking about NBA. It was like you can still have a fun product to watch without the intensity of a playoff game where people are checking each other and all that stuff.
Yeah.
NFL was broken for a lot of years, man, with their
Yeah.
All Star game. You can't have a football game without the intensity. It's not the same. You know what I
Right.
mean? When there's no tackling, it's not very cool when someone scores a touchdown. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like you have,
Right.
and they've tried to do different little skills competitions, but they never really hit it on the head yet. So I think it's actually a good move for them to try to kind of move to find their niche, to find what people are going to be interested in. Like how can you make it more personable, intimate with the players, without having that game. They got to try
Yeah, I
something
think
else.
the NFL's issue is they're almost trying too hard. Like the little, like wide receiver and quarterback drills and stuff. Like what you want to see is you want to see which quarterback can throw the ball the farthest. Like literally just line them up and have them just absolutely chuck the ball.
Hmm.
Like that's what the people want to see. or have the kickers go and just see who can make the farthest field goal. Like just absolutely just nuking balls. And like stuff like that. There can be like a races and all kinds of stuff like that. And I mean, the other difference is like NBA, NHL, and everything is during the season, so like it's a nice little break for everyone. Like basically the whole league shuts down for like a whole week or two almost, and gives a nice little break to everyone. So yeah, and like there's ways you can make the game fun without it being like this intense, like big show looking thing, but also like not look how it has for the past couple years where, like it's not clearly not football. Or I mean, you could take it a whole nother 180 degrees and make
Yeah.
it sort of like a charity driven event, like, bringing underprivileged kids, and like the NFL players are coaching teams, or, stuff like that, like way to get the fans involved with the players, and, have your players be far more marketable than them just like playing flag football, kind of thing. So yeah, it's definitely in a tough spot. I was telling Danae, I was like, yeah, I have zero interest of even really tuning into the Pro Bowl this year. So, but
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel like people are just losing interest in it, and especially in the NFL, it's just. I mean, I feel like it's just turning. Like I said before, it's more of like a marketing thing now. I mean, they're trying to get you know people tuning in and watching. They're trying to get the TikTok and the YouTube, and they're all that stuff is really important to the NFL's brand and image, and who they cater to. That's why they've brought in all these extra casters, and that's why Nickelodeon's involved in games, and they're trying to get everyone involved, which is good. But it's become a shell of what it used to be. I mean, I think like bringing in Peyton and Eli for coaches who are incredibly great personalities in the NFL, I think that's a good move, having them around the game and their stupid rivalry that they end up having with each other. um, I think it's a good move, but I mean, like you said, Josh, I mean, like they need to have like like skills competitions. I think would be like really cool. Like, yeah, we just want to see you chuck the ball 70 yards as a quarterback. Like that's what we want to see, and I feel like the closer they get to that, I feel like kind of the better, I feel like they, the better numbers that they would have
yeah, like
personally.
it kind of needs to be more inclusive, like it's always like weird. It's like at night or just like at 9 o'clock in the morning, like the sun's just glaring in the background. Like it's always just weird timing. And like there's not much like in the NHL, like
Yeah.
all the players have like their kids out on the ice with them, and like what a player is commentating, like when
Mm-hmm.
they like the other skills competitions are going, like they're commentating and talking through it, and like talking about the season, or whatever it is. So I mean, there's definitely ways you can kind of spruce it up and make it a more kind of finished product, rather than just like, oh yeah, there's skills competition today also. Like it's not just checking the box kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, man. Or like just I don't know, like I get that they're trying to be creative with it, but they just haven't hit the nail on the head yet. Like how
Yeah.
fun would like a
Absolutely.
fat man relay be? You know what I mean? Like have all the linemen do a relay race or something, and then like maybe your anchor can be Tyreek Hill or something, or like something crazy. You know what I mean? Like either go way outside the box or just find a way to nail it, man. Put the kickers up on a platform 20 feet high, and then have them just boot the ball as far as they can and see how far the ball, like just do
Yeah.
something crazy. You know what I mean? Like you're the
Yeah.
NFL, you have unlimited amounts of money. Like I mean,
True.
you guys probably can come up with way better ideas than I can right now, just off the top of my head, with all the millions of dollars that you guys can throw at it. You know what I mean? Like just find a way to nail it, because you guys have been really missing the mark for the past 10 years.
Yeah. Like either like get it figured out, or like just have a list and have a ceremony where you have people who are all pro come and accept an award. You know what I mean? And like make that selection a little harder for, the criteria
Yeah,
to
that's
become all pro. You know what I mean? Like
that's
either
also one
fix
thing
it
I want to
or
talk
get it
about,
out.
the selection process. Like I think it's like 75% fan driven and 25% like colleague driven. So like players voting. Like you're telling me some
Yeah,
kid with a
which
Twitter
yeah.
can make a tweet and like spam it for however many hours or whatever. There's probably freaking bots that could do it for you. Love just like Justin Jefferson, and like every one of those counts as a vote. Like you're telling me that's how you're going to decide like who the best of the best are. Like yeah, like you guys are saying, the Pro Bowl used to carry so much more weight, man. Like, and it just meant so much more, and now it's like, oh,
Yeah.
the All Pro players are the actual good players, and the Pro Bowls won the fan contest. So
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean like when your biggest highlight is Mac is freaking Mac Jones doing the gritty in the end zone. Like, and that's your highlight from the Pro Bowl. Like, something is wrong. It's wrong. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, you gotta fix it. Like that. I mean, it's cool, but like that shouldn't be the biggest thing to come out of the freaking Pro Bowl with the best
Yeah,
players in the
get the
league.
Manning brothers there.
Like, come
Get
on,
McAfee there.
figure
Get
it out.
Big Cat there. Like you have all of
Yes.
those things at your
Yeah.
disposal. Use them.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous,
Yeah.
man.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. Well, I also had one more, and I don't know. This could be a short little story time. I don't know, what you guys have, and obviously, we're not going into specifics. We're not going into names unless you guys are trying to open that can of worms. But I went
Oh gosh.
to a basketball game last weekend, right?
Yeah.
And your boy is, I mean, Grant played, t-ball last year, but I mean, he's 5 years old. Like, it doesn't get super crazy. But I went to a basketball game at, about the age of when kids kind of start to get more competitive with sports. And so I kind of got introduced into the wild world of sports parents, and sports coaches and people, making fools of themselves because they think that it's about them and not about the kids. I want to know if you guys have any like stories, like from when you guys played youth football, that like stick out in your mind of like a crazy like parent moment or a crazy like coach moment like that happened.
First one that comes to mind, and this one's kind of a funny one, but it's our own father, man. You remember when he was threatening the ref that he was going to turn his water off?
I don't remember.
That was like his ultimate threat to the guy, but he was going to go shut his
shut off the
water
water
off after the game. Big J, the legendary water operator, man. But
when was this? Also, did the guy deserve it?
man, I feel like it was like a TV RPD game.
It was
because he knew the ref like personally.
bowl cut boy.
Oh, yeah.
Um.
Oh, okay.
No.
Yeah. I got you.
Definitely. Chachi, what came
it was
to
actually
mind
baseball. A certain individual's mom, like I was running around third, I was on second, a little base hit to the outfield. So of course your boy's scoring. I mean, 60-foot bases. So
I remember
I'm
this.
running home and the ball is in the third baseline. So naturally I'm gonna truck the kid. I played football for a long time, and so I maybe run into the kid, maybe don't, maybe on purpose, maybe not. Don't quote me anyways. And so the mom like stands up in the bleachers of Little League, which I mean, it's pretty close to the field. And she is like just hooting and hollering, like, and she's like, "This is not football." That was like her key line that she belted out, dude. And it was just so funny. And like, mom was so rattled, of course, because she's just, mom is. But yeah, no, that lady was just absolutely rattled that I trucked her son on the third baseline.
Chach, this was the thing for you though, dude. This is where you had the clear disadvantage. Anytime, like being the size that you were as a kid, anytime that you got relatively close to someone or like bumped into them and sent their kid flying, like it happened a lot more than just that time. Like there were so many times where that happened and people were going nuts and saying the same thing about it not being football or whatever stupid thing they were saying, but it happened to you a
baseball
lot,
and
I remember,
basketball,
especially in
like,
baseball.
Because basketball, like, I mean, there's some kids who are like pretty small in middle school, so like get in there with the big dogs and start throwing elbows and shit, That's how it is. So
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just brought me back to it. And, parents, if you're out there listening, take a chill pill. For real. Like it was crazy. I'm not gonna go into details or say names or anything, but this coach is just making a complete, ass of himself in front of everyone. It's just, I feel like it just drives so many, because like that, I was talking to Hannah about it, and I feel like that's kind of what people see when they see sports is, people who act like that, and, parents who are just way over the freaking top and they're kind of living vicariously through their kid kind of thing. And it was, it's ridiculous. It's not cool to anybody, but that's all I had. Just to know if you guys had any crazy stories.
No, definitely. And I wanted to say one thing is like, Big J, if you're out there listening, man, like you were pretty chill for like 99% of the time. That one instance, man.
Yeah.
Everyone knows Jay is the rule book guy, so he knows every single rule for every single sport. Don't know how he does it. So
true. Yeah.
sometimes he probably actually did know better than the ref, but I feel like basketball and baseball are probably the worst for like the
Hmm.
sports parents world. Football,
Yeah,
maybe we didn't know as much about what was going on in the stands. You can't
because you're
hear as much
yeah
going on. You're kind of removed from the stands a little bit more. Plus, the three of us were on the field quite a bit of the game, so you don't
Yeah, I
really
was
can't
actually
hear
gonna
as well from out there. But yeah, man, baseball and basketball is
I
just
actually
the
something
remember
about
when
it.
worst.
Ty was playing
Yeah.
football. A parent of a certain individual was in the stands, maybe intoxicated, maybe not intoxicated, and like TC fumbled or something, and like I think it was TC's junior year or something like that, maybe sophomore, but and homie's dad is just screaming like at Ty directly, and so Jay of course is on edge, because anyways, not of course we're not getting into who it was or anything like that, but so Jay's obviously on edge, and like TC was saying, like the players have no idea what's going on because like you're so far away from the field and the band and the cheerleaders and all that stuff. But yeah, no, it at the high school, parents come liquored up, and it creates a whole nother dynamic in the stands, to say the least.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, man. And yeah, I mean, baseball, basketball, man. There's just something so much different about those environments. And yeah, I mean, like you said, TC, shout out to Dad because I feel like there was never a time where like he did something or said something at a game like that just straight up like embarrassed any of us. You know what I mean? I mean, like you told the funny story, but like he never freaking is out there freaking threatening people or like yelling at
Yeah.
us to do something different. Like he let the coaches do their job. And, I always really respected that because like when you see it happen, like being removed from, sports and stuff, it's so, it just puts such a bad taste in your mouth. So yeah, shouts out to Big J for always keeping a level head and, letting the boys do their thing.
Yeah, dude. One last
Keeping it
basketball
real.
story. I don't know if you guys
Keeping
ever
it real.
remember when we played that team in Ridgecrest. It was like they're called Monroe. They're like a green and yellow team, and their gym was tiny, man. Like
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
the smallest. So like the parents would
Oh,
literally
yeah, yeah.
sit on the sideline and like have their feet over the line of like the boundary of the feet of the court. And so like you have to like and they're just being total asses
Yeah.
about it, just having their feet in the way and like not giving you room to stand to like pass the ball in and like just this it was honestly wild, man. It was middle school basketball. I'm like, parents are going this hard, dude. But it's crazy.
Yeah.
Boys, shall we move on to our pick'ems? We gotta get into her.
Let's do
Yeah,
it.
man. Let's
This
get
is
into it.
our conference championship pick'ems presented by W as always. If you guys haven't, head on over to w.gg. Try anything out. They got shakers, tubs, hydration, all that stuff. It's all the good stuff of energy without any of the jitters or crash. Sugar free, no fillers, no maltodextrin. I think it's less than 5 calories for a serving. So if you're into energy or anything like that, definitely go check it out. They're always running deals and sales and all kinds of stuff. And be sure to use code Keep It Down all caps at checkout. Give you 10% off your order. Again, code Keep It Down all caps for 10% off your purchase at w.gg. Boys, getting into the first one of the day. Bengals at Chiefs. That's a spicy one.
Jeez.
Yeah, man. I don't even know where to start with this one. I am just so torn on this,
Yeah.
guys. So many things going through my mind. The greatness of both quarterbacks, obviously, what happened last year with Burrow taking that team to the Super Bowl. Um, Obviously, the dominance of Patrick Mahomes over the last 5 years. Cincinnati being a divisional rival for the Steelers plays into my decision a little bit as well. I think Cincinnati is probably the better team in this situation, but they do have to go to Arrowhead. Um, Patrick Mahomes is banged up, but he is an absolute magician. So there's so many things going back and forth through my head. I think the tiebreaker for me is going to be Chiefs at home. Patrick Mahomes' revenge game. I think he's going to surprise people with how healthy he's going to be once Sunday rolls around. And I don't know, man. Something is telling me not to rule out the Chiefs. And just because, like I said, man, Cincinnati being the division rival, I don't want to see them succeed. I want that to be the Steelers, man. I'm going to go with the Chiefs.
Shush. Guys, one of
Holy
these four
cow.
teams is going to win the Super Bowl. Just want that to sink in. Okay? This game is a tough one, man. I mean, Patty Mahomes has been taking cortisol shots in the ankle since the freaking injury happened. You know what I mean? Like, is he
Mm-hmm.
going to be 100%? I hope he is, because I want a full on clash. I feel like these are the two best teams from the AFC, and I want this to be the game that everyone hopes it is. Um, I just think Joe Burrow he's just got their number, man. He knows. He just knows the way to do it. And I think I'm gonna say the Bengals, man. I mean, close though. I hope this is like a 3-point game and it's close and it comes right down to it. But
I
I
mean,
got the
this is giving
Bengals.
me big 2021 vibes with the turf toe Patty Mahomes, baby. Um, so, I mean, he took him all the way to the Super Bowl. I think he's going to do it again, boys. I think the Chiefs' offense is just going to be too much for the Bengals' defense, man. You know, like we said, you know, they can play some opportunistic defense when
Yeah.
the offense is giving them some stuff, but this is a Chiefs team that hardly ever, is giving the team other opportunities, much less turning the ball over. So, I mean, Andy Reid seems like he could probably scheme any one of us open against an NFL defense. So, I mean, it's probably much easier to do with Travis Kelsey. So, um, I think, but I mean, yeah, the
Right.
Bengals are a great team. That offense is nuts. Also, dude, like the social media edits and stuff coming out of Joe Burrow. I mean, just top class. You love to see it. He's just so good for the game of football in general, man. Like
Yeah.
there's just so many fan
He really
accounts
is.
and Joe Burrow stan accounts on Twitter and all kinds of stuff, dude. Like just stuff that you just never seen for players before. So, but yeah, I'm taking the Chiefs. I think it's going to be a close one, but I think the Chiefs are going to be too much. And I mean, yeah, typically for a high ankle sprain, usually, I mean, you see the worst of it within 3 to 4 days after the injury. So, and from what we've seen at Mahomes at practice and the press conference and how he's walking on it, I mean, seems to be not too large of a factor. But only time will tell, boys.
Definitely, man. And one other thing I want to touch on, we talked about the Jags turnaround, man. How about this Bengals turnaround, man? With the arrival of Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, man, completely has changed the whole outlook on the Bengals. Like for years and years, the Bengals were two easy wins on the Steelers' schedule, and for a lot of people, they're an
Yeah.
easy win on the schedule. And last year they come out and do their thing, get to a Super Bowl. This year they're proving that it definitely was not a fluke. They're going to be here for the long term, and they're going to be a force to be reckoned with for years to come. Man, this Bengals team is very exciting. As much as I hate to say it, man, I think they should probably be the favorites in this one, even though you got the Chiefs at home in the AFC Championship game. Just absolutely crazy to say it, but they are just, man, I incredible turnaround from the guys. I'm definitely excited to
Yeah,
see this one.
absolutely, boys. I think it's going to be an instant classic for sure. And NFC Championship, we got the San Francisco 49ers going to Lincoln Financial Stadium facing the Philadelphia Eagles. Boys, thoughts?
I'm less conflicted on this one, guys. Been riding the 49ers bandwagon for quite a while now. I've picked them in both of their matchups so far in the playoffs, but we talked about it. We were talking about Philly playing the Giants, and once that ball gets rolling, it's pretty tough to stop. I think that if it gets into a shootout, then the Eagles definitely have the edge with the more experienced quarterback. Brock Purdy has been on an absolute incredible run, but he's never been tested like this before. Coming out of Iowa State, man, like has he really played in a game of this magnitude before? You could say that about all of the playoff games that he's played in so far, but man, this is an NFC Championship game. Just don't know what you're going to get out of the guy. Yes, they do have superstars all over the field on offense, but I gotta roll with Philly here, guys. They just seem like the more complete team on the offensive side of the ball, and a top 10 defense to go along with it. I gotta go with Philly.
Yeah, I mean, this it's almost as intriguing to me as the first game is. Because I mean, obviously the 49ers are leaps and bounds better than the Giants, who got completely dismantled last weekend by Philadelphia. But I mean, the 49ers defense is about 1,000 times better than the Giants defense is. Um,
Facts.
so I mean, I think you're 100% correct, TC. If the 49ers want to play the shootout game, they're going to lose because the Eagles are just built to score 50 points if they wanted to. Like, it's just how they roll, it's how they play, it's the players that they have on their team. They can score in the drop of a hat, no problem. I mean, not that the 49ers can't, but the Eagles just do it in a different way. And you're going up to Philadelphia to play. Um, I think it's going to be a close game. I think the 49ers are going to give the Eagles all that they can handle, but I do think that the Eagles will end up winning this
Yeah, I mean, for
game.
as complex as it is, I think it really boils down to turnovers. If the 49ers can create a few turnovers and, maybe get the Eagles
Yeah.
reeling a little bit, they could very easily come away with this game. But if they fail to do that and just let Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith just run all over them, it's one of those teams where, they could be up by 14 in the blink of an eye, especially with Brock Purdy. He's never played a defense of
Yeah.
this caliber, man. Like this defense is a whole nother animal. Also, just a quick side note: one of the most underrated players, man, is Fletcher Cox. Like that dude has been in the league forever,
Yeah,
dude, and he's
for
still just out there,
years.
just making an impact, just playing defensive tackle,
Yeah.
which is like one of the lowest regarded positions on defense, and just doing his thing and just making an impact and a difference. So huge ups to that guy, man.
Yeah.
Watched the game last week, and I was just like, holy shit! Like this dude's been playing football for as long as I can remember. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm gonna take the
Yeah.
Eagles here. I think it'll be close-ish, but probably Eagles by like 10 or something like that. Some of that neck of the woods.
I think that sounds about right.
Yeah, definitely. I like the Fletcher Cox shout out there, Chach. Also want to give a
Mhm.
shout out to big play Darius Slay, man, with an
Mm-hmm.
absolute revival in Philadelphia. A lot
Yeah,
of
for
years spent with
real.
those bad Lions teams, and it's nice to see him finally finding some success. I've always been a really stand up guy. Um, I actually listened to him on a podcast recently, and just a really cool guy. And he just one of those guys you like to root for. You know what I mean? So I wanted to shout out big play Darius Slay. But what's interesting about this matchup is if it would have happened last week, I probably would have picked the 49ers. Just with the uncertainty of Jalen Hurts coming in, how hot the 49ers have been, the incredible defense they have. But man, Jalen Hurts just on a different level right now, man. Just really answering a lot of those questions. So, you got to roll Philly, but I wouldn't be surprised either way.
Yeah, and boys, that is gonna be our conference championship pick'ems presented by DUBBY. So it should be some banger football, boys. But I got one thing. So before the pod started, I was watching some hockey, some classic Capitals Penguins. Just a classic matchup. You got to tune in. So, dude, and this
Of course.
popped across the screen. So they're talking about Chris Letang, of course, defenseman for the Penguins. So he himself had a stroke in October. He missed 5 games. They played like 2 to 3 a week. So he basically missed 2 weeks. Homie had a stroke, missed 5 games, had a leg injury so that was in October. He had a leg injury in early November. His father passed away the second week of December, and now he has 25 points in 30 games as a defenseman. So just talk about an emotional roller coaster,
Nuts.
boys. Yeah, that just popped up on the screen, so I just had to bring it up on the pod. That is insane. I mean, just
I mean,
Yeah, man. We kind of touched on Patrick Mahomes being a tough guy, but man, Chris Letang, man. putting Patty Mahomes to shame. He said, "Whatever you can do, I can do better." Obviously, a horrible situation he was put in. Not easy to go through what he went through, but just rebounding the way he has, man, just a really incredible story.
Yeah, and I mean that's coming from a group of dudes that aren't necessarily big fans of the Penguins. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean any one of those, man. I mean those are all season enders for a lot of other people. I mean hockey, dude. Hockey players are the toughest athletes on the planet, and I will die on that hill forever. Um, but yeah, I mean it's nuts, man.
Yeah, and then
Yeah, man, hockey is just a different level of toughness. Um, Number one, the players that elect not to use a visor in game, I think it's just
Psychos.
insane, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and even with the visor, like you can still take a 80-mile-an-hour frozen puck to the face, man. Like you can lose teeth like within the blink of an eye. You know
Yeah,
what I
gone.
mean? And then
Yeah.
yeah, like just not to have a full face cover in that sport, you're getting shoulders bounced off your face. You're into the boards. Like I said, the pucks, the sticks. There's sharp razor blades on everyone's feet, man. Like it is insane how tough these guys are. Like they'll just straight up like get hit in the face, like go down to the ground, get back up, and keep skating around. Like insane what these guys are able to do. Just a different level of toughness involved with the sport, man.
Yeah, Church, I thought you were going to leave that at he had a stroke and now he's playing again. But no, of course not. Of course, it was way more. And then, of course, he goes on a complete
yeah,
war
like
path.
and like for
That's
those of you who don't
nuts,
really pay
dude.
much attention to hockey, 25 points in 30 games for a defenseman is insane. Like that is ridiculous.
It is absurd.
But yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you've never really watched the sport of hockey, I encourage
Mhm.
you to go watch a game live, an
Yeah,
in-person
absolutely.
game. On TV, I don't think you get to recognize number one, the hand-eye coordination that those guys play with. They pass the puck 30 yards ahead of them and it goes tape to tape to the other player's stick. Like that in itself is an impressive feat. Plus, just the speed of the game.
So
These guys are
fast.
on ice skates and they're some of the best athletes in the world, man. Like the game is very high paced, strategic, and like I said, these are some of the most skilled athletes in the whole world. I definitely encourage you to go see it in person to really get a
And
new
like even the
understanding and
skating in
appreciation for the
itself, like
game.
just the way that they control themselves as they're skating, like the stuff you don't even see, like how they have to turn and spin and stop and go and like just all that stuff is insane. And then like yeah, like all the stuff you mentioned, the fighting and the playing football on skates and skating at 23 or 24 miles an hour and the puck is frozen. You're playing with sticks that you can swing at each other and it's not a crime, like I mean, it's just nuts, dude. Like, it's even a thing. Like, when you were
Yeah.
talking about the concept of hockey, it's kind of wild that it's even like an actual sport.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, I think probably the hardest single thing in sports, I think a lot of people would agree on this, is probably being a batter in baseball and hitting a pitch, right? Like that's probably one of the hardest things to do in sports. But 1A, or that might be 1A, but 1B has got to be a goalie trying to stop a puck in traffic.
Yeah.
When you're like when you can watch what the goalie's doing when the other team has it down on their end of the ice, like he is bobbing, weaving around players, and then there's a slap shot coming 80 miles an hour. He can't see it, and somehow he either does the splits or flashes his glove or whatever he does. Like incredible feats that those goalies do. The flexibility, the hand-eye coordination. Like I said, with impaired vision through traffic, like that is insane, man.
They're
If
also on
hitting a
skates.
also on skates, man. Like if hitting a baseball is 1A, like that is
Yeah,
1B.
dude. Like, you see all the
Yeah,
clips.
100%.
You see all the clips coming out of like goalies
Hockey's
sitting
a
on the
beautiful
bench before
sport.
the game, and they're just doing like the crazy eye thing, and their eyes are just darting back and forth like between like seven different things. And then like yeah, like TC was mentioning,
Yeah.
once you go to a game and like watch and like
Mm,
actually look at what they're doing. Also, I mean, goalies are just some of the weirdest dudes on the planet Earth. Also, like just in their nature, like yeah, like pretty much same thing. But
they're like kickers.
yeah, no, so crazy. And then one other thing I just want to touch on real quick. It's like um, Mental Health Awareness Month for the NHL. So they're doing like the Bell Let's Talk and all that stuff. And so, um, we have the pod, and so we have a platform and all that stuff. And so just thought we'd kind of do our due diligence. And, for anyone out there that's struggling or having a hard time or difficulty with life or anything like that, you've got to reach out to someone, man. And kind of from the other side, the people who aren't struggling with stuff, if you see people struggling in the world, you need to as well reach out to them. And so anyone who listens to the podcast, if you ever need to talk to someone or anything like that, the Keep It Down DMs are always open, man. 24/7, Instagram, Twitter, whatever it is, or if you know us
Always.
personally, in our personal DMs, that as well. So just thought we'd take some time. And mental health is a huge stigma, especially in males overall. So yeah, definitely don't be scared if you ever need anything from any of the boys. So boys, do we have anything else?
Man, I think that about wraps it up for me, man.
Hey, yo.
Does it about for me, Chach?
Well, then that is officially going to do it for episode 16 of the Keep It Down podcast presented by DUBBY. Like I said, follow us on Instagram, post podcast exclusive content, follow us on Twitter. Shmag be roasting some people on the Twitter, so definitely a good follow at Keep It Down _pod on Twitter. So,
I'm
and
on
then the
there.
YouTube channel, go
I'm so
subscribe,
on
run
there.
it up, all that good stuff, like all the stuff. Like I said, Schmuck pumped out all the old episodes, and new episodes will be video as well, so you can catch those on YouTube as well. That's going to do it for us. Boys, want to give a quick sign out?
Yeah, definitely, everyone. Thanks for listening, man. Hope you guys had as good a time as we did because we had a blast doing this thing, man. We always do, and we always appreciate you guys listening.
Yo.
Stick with us, man. Keep listening. You guys are killing it. Yeah, we'll see you next time.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for listening and watching and however you're connecting with us. And like Chach said, we're super active on social media. So any recommendations, anything that you have, anything you like to see, any old segments, anything like that, like let the boys know, and we'll do what we can.
Yeah.
But
And
anyway, thank you for
lastly,
listening, everyone.
be good people. Peace.